Have you gone to the doctor recently because of pain throughout your body for which there seems to be no relief? Introducing Dr. Anthony Pinozzo. The Dr. Pinozzo Sports and Medicine Hour will bring you a new technique to resolve painful issues throughout the body. Dr. Pinozzo has worked with over 65,000 patients over 40 years and has developed a revolutionary approach to pain treatment. His treatment allows fast and effective treatment of pain without narcotics, surgery, and physical therapy. There is no manipulation or alternative approaches. Weight bearing and the return of normal range of motion without pain is the best kept secret this man has to deliver. So, get ready to call in and ask all of your painful questions and get the answers you've been looking for. Now, here's today's edition of Dr. Pinozzo's Sports and Medicine Hour.
You're on 3 stations.
Commercial.
We're going to talk about all of the things that might affect golfers. We have been working very hard with the golfers today. We were last week at the PGA tournament. And what we were doing is we were meeting golfers that have problems, meeting different people with Dr. Pinozzo. Dr. Pinozzo, so how did you enjoy being at the PGA?
I can't hear you.
Okay, so now what we're doing is we're going to be talking about golfers and some of the problems that golfers have. So Dr. Pinozzo, let me ask you a question. How did you like being at the PGA and talking to Joe Gorman about problems that a professional golfer had?
Well, it's always a good insight to get the story from those actually doing it.
Right.
So instead of being too scientific, we actually get into the emotional and the physical problems that the golfer has. And you have to know that in order to treat it. You're not going to treat it otherwise.
So what was very funny is when we met Joe, he was a golfer, and we spoke about the clubs, and he basically said the same thing you said all the time, that it's not the club, the club could only do so much, correct?
The club can help you, but if you can't swing it, it can't help you.
Isn't that amazing? So, Joe
now,
was
when
very,
they put an angle on it, 10 degrees, 12 degrees, that could help some people.
right.
But if you can't get it, from up there to down there, it's not going to help.
And it was very funny when you were with Joe. You noticed that when he went in to do that whole full swing, this big strapping guy, you noticed that there was pain right away, and you diagnosed the pain on the spot.
Yeah, we did. We can actually see or watch the momentum of the swing. Remember, it's a medical problem. All
Right.
these parts have to work together. So you can. What I do is I just itemize them in my mind. I just go right down the line, see what works, what doesn't work, and I can nail it pretty much.
So, we always have new listeners that tune in every week. Doc, I always hate to be redundant and have to always repeat the same thing, but how'd you get into working with golfers? I mean, of all things, why not why golfers? What was the fascination that made you do work with golfers so well?
Things to help them with their golf swing, which could not possibly do it ever in the history of mankind, could ever do it, which is copper bracelets and magnets and things like that. And I was talking to my son, who's also a physician, doing the same kind of work. And because we have an experience with pain-producing structures, we figured that the golf swing is really a medical problem at the tee. In order to get that club head from up here to down there and on, everything has to work properly, and we know what doesn't work because we know what causes pain. Now, that is not known by the golf instructors.
We found that out.
This is really a medical problem,
Right.
And what we're trying to do is trying to get them interested in this as a medical problem to get that swing treated before they teach them how to play golf. Their main thing should be how to play the game. I would love to have people tell me that.
Right, the art of golf, as you always say.
When I go for lessons, I'm stuck with my head up or my wrist not right. I mean, the whole thing is just kind of baloney. But anyway, that's how I feel. I'm sorry.
No, it's good that it's funny because when we met with the gentleman, he understood exactly what you were saying. He said, "Wow, if I could."
He did, yeah.
he was showing that sometimes you have to, people are adjusting their body to
Right.
compensate for the pain.
Right. Yeah.
And
if you have to do that, that means you have two disabilities now.
right.
So not only the pain going through, which cuts your swing down, you're not going to get the normal physics arc that you want to get that ball to go straight, and it's going to go off to the side or up in the air. It's not going to work.
Right.
So when you modify the swing to accommodate that, which means you have another problem now. So instead of going the other way, which is to treat the cause of the pain, treat that first, so that the swing goes to normal. They're putting in too many roadblocks for a good swing, and that's how you get hurt.
And it's funny
I
because
don't have to tell you about Tiger. Just read about it. I've never seen him. Didn't
Wow.
diagnose him. But anybody who has this many injuries in golf, I mean, they're really got to be serious about this.
I mean, 20 years is the first time he's missed one of the most important events in golfing. Was the Masters, so he's hurting. But you know what's funny, when we met with the gentleman down there at the PGA, he agreed with everything you said. He said, he's going to try to incorporate what you said, because they'll make a lot more money, because first of all, you could sell clubs that fit the person. They don't have to compensate.
Right.
So that's very important. Now, one of the things I know you and I have always spoken about is the different things with people. Scoliosis, that affects a golf swing, am I correct?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
So when you see someone that has scoliosis, does it matter what time you catch that person? If they were young and they had scoliosis?
Well, the younger the better, of course.
Okay.
And it is all reversible. We know how to do that, and I can tell you 100% we do reverse scoliosis.
No, I know that's true, because I met a
And,
lady in your office who told me that, and I think that lady at that time when I met her, was in her late 70s.
Yeah. She's 79 and a wife of a physician, and her son was a physician too, a radiologist. And I showed them the technique and how to do it, and they agreed with it 100%. Once you see it, you have to agree with it, because it's right there in front of your eyes.
Amazing.
The curvature and rotation reverses right in front of your eyes.
How does I always wonder, how do you get scoliosis? Are you born
Well,
with
it's a
it?
scar tissue. It's an injury
Okay.
scar tissue that keeps your bones rotated,
Okay.
so that the above is now a curvature, and it goes up, and you have three curves normally.
And you get,
And it's all because of the fall. So it could be a fall on your hip, it could be a fall off a bike, it could be anything like that. And so that reverses, it changes the bone structure. And then because these are ligaments involved in there, it is stuck.
wow.
And so that's your scoliosis. Now, everything above that is curved. Has to be.
I just want to say this to everyone that's listening out there. You could listen to Dr. Pinozzo every week and hear all the things that he's done. You could talk to 72,000 patients that have gone through Dr. Pinozzo. And the bottom line is, if any of you out there are thinking of improving your golf game or thinking of being better, I think it would behoove you to at least give Dr. Pinozzo a call. I'm going to give Dr. Pinozzo's phone. And we take calls whether we're on the air, whether he's sitting on the beach, whether he's having a drink. So right now, if you want to call Dr. Pinozzo, you can call him at our hotline, which is 877-927-6969. Or right now, Dr. Pinozzo is going to try not to take calls on the air, but if you want to speak to Dr. Pinozzo after our show, which is around 12 o'clock, call him at 561-381-5800. And what's different about Dr. Pinozzo is he will answer that call and honestly tell you whether or not you should come in or not. Because naturally, he can't diagnose you on the phone, but he could let you know whether or not what he's doing can help you. Doc, another question I want to ask you is, people are always complaining about lower back injuries. My back hurts when I swing the ball on my lower back. Is that something that's a concern to you?
Yes.
Okay, explain to me, how does someone prevent lower back injury whether playing golf?
You really can't prevent an injury.
Okay.
If that was possible, there would be no NFL players that hurt at all. I mean,
No
that's
kidding.
a lot of money there. So you can't really stop it. The only thing you can do is fix it quickly,
Okay.
so your losses are diminished. Now, on the swing, there is a particular location where that pain occurs.
Okay.
We happen to know what that is. And there's three or four places. And you have to pick the worst one of the bunch and treat it.
So if someone has lower back pain, they're wearing those things around their waist and doing all those things to avoid the pain. Taking the over-the-counter medications like aspirin and Aleve is not going to get rid of the pain.
Well, you can't use magnets, or you can't use copper bracelets or anything like that.
What was the idea behind that? I can never
There is
understand that.
There is no idea. Somebody wanted to sell something. That's all. There is no idea behind it.
So in other words, I could take a bunch of pennies, put it on Scotch tape, and put it on my hand, and that would probably do the same thing,
It'll do
right?
the same thing, which is nothing.
Nothing. Right? Amazing, absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
Again,
There's marketing. I mean, there's marketing
sure,
there.
sure.
And the poor golfers, they don't have the clue. And so they're buying all this stuff. I went to the PGA convention,
okay, in Las Vegas,
and 85% of the floor was to sell them things like this.
right?
I mean, I couldn't believe it. And that made me want to just try to help this industry out. And I think I could do it because of my background. I mean, if you're an internist, you're not going to be able to do this. But since we treat pain all the time for 45 years, I think I could do it. And if you listen close, you will get the idea.
So now, again, not only is the lower back that people complain about, they complain a lot about shoulder problems when they play golf. I mean, young and old, they complain about their shoulders bothering
Well,
them.
shoulders are a big part of the swing, because if you can't get your shoulder up out like this, how can you get the distance? You can't. Not only that, but if the shoulder only goes this far, you're rotating your body, and that throws your swing off. So a shoulder, now there's two shoulders. So one is on the backswing and one is on the finish. So both could be involved, and both are treatable. They're treatable very quickly, by the way. 1 to 2 days, that's it.
Really?
Yeah.
So in other words, the guy that's having trouble following through with the swing, and as we know as golfers, when you don't follow through, the ball goes that way to the left or that way to the right.
That's right.
And that's usually because of a shoulder injury, I'm assuming, or a back injury.
Yeah, so when we do the assessment before our golf school, we always examine from the top down. Headache, neck, shoulders, between the shoulder blades, lower back. Yep, we don't miss anything.
And you would do this for a couple of years, right, Doc? How many years? How many years?
About 46 years.
46 years. And there's I don't know if you want to mention names, but I know there's a very, very famous man that you have kept playing golf up into his 80s.
Oh, you mean Bob Toski?
That's the guy. I wanted you to mention him.
he's still playing in the middle 80s. He still hits at 250 yards.
Amazing.
You got to tell him he's really, this is what happens when you practice
science.
every day. Practice every day, and he does it right. He has no injuries, except we treated his neck one time, but I shouldn't tell you that. But that was it. And so he keeps himself in good shape, and that's what it takes.
Now, talk to me about when we say between the shoulder blades. What does that mean? I always read that, well, it's between your shoulder blades. You got to go in for surgery. I think if we go there, we got to...
No surgery. You should never have any surgery for any pain, and I really mean that. We can treat anything. So if you think about it, look, scar tissue occurs when you have an injury. So what you're feeling between the shoulder blades or lower back or hips or whatever is scar tissue. It's inflammation, restriction of motion. Okay, so when you get operated, what do you get? Scar tissue.
That's correct.
So you have to be really careful what you do. You always try to do things without that surgery. You can always do it. You can always do it. So don't do it first. Is what the message is.
So what I'm telling you out there, all you people that are listening to Dr. Pinozzo, this is such an interesting show. I want you to call him, just to talk to the gentleman to find out what it is that Dr. Pinozzo really does. His number is 561-381-5800. He's also located in Delray Beach off of Military Trail at 16244 Military Trail, Suite 740. And you know what? Here's my philosophy. I'm not a doctor, but you know what? I've seen people that have gone in for back surgery. I have a friend who's gone in years ago before I even had the opportunity to meet you for neck, and they're all on medication. What's the one thing that you do not have in your office? Drugs.
Huh?
You don't give out drugs.
No,
you don't
drugs,
give any
no,
medications at all.
No, none at all.
Because
you don't need them.
Exactly. Okay.
If you know where the pain is from, treat it.
What about knees? I know golfers are already, look at Tiger with his knees. I mean, there's a guy that's,
Knees are easily treated. You just have to break it up into parts and treat each part individually.
right,
You don't need surgery on knees.
amazing, absolutely amazing. I mean,
I think there's too many done. I mean, do you realize what the cost to the public is of all this surgery on knees? I
the
mean,
number
it's just
last year was
immense.
6.5 million knee surgeries in the United States.
Yeah, and you multiply that times 40 to 50,000 each, and
Right.
you got a big number. This is why there's no money in Medicare anymore. I mean, they're spending it for things like that.
Right, which is
And all for when they talk about bone on bone, they're only talking about when they talk about bone on bone, they're only talking about probably a 10% of it.
really.
So the rest of it is normal knee
Really?
being thrown away.
So in other words, people do not have to go in for surgery anymore. It's something that that they're foolish. I mean, now tell me if I'm wrong. You know, I've seen this happen. You're a doctor, so and I'm not. When people go in and they go in for back surgery of any type, it always seems that there always seems that they never are cured.
No, and the reason is we alluded to it before. You have a scar that you're operating for,
Right.
and then you create another one.
Mhm.
So even when they say about laser, that
Right.
what do they call it?
Laparoscopic, is that the one? Laparoscopic or
No, microscope.
microscopic? Okay.
Yeah, no big incision, but there's still an incision there. So what are you really operating on?
Amazing.
We actually know what causes the pain. It's an annulus. It's a rotation of the bone structure.
Here's the thing that I want
But
you
you can't operate for that. So I'm telling you, people, I'm not getting anything for this, but I'm telling you, as a physician, don't get operated.
Folks, just so everyone knows outside, this is a show that's geared to education.
Right.
Dr. Pinoza wants to educate the public that, you know, you don't have to go in for surgeries anymore. I mean, the rehab from what I've read, Doc, is probably almost 3 months of rehab just for going in for back surgery.
Well, if you find out what they're doing for that, you'll find out they do very little for the back.
Right. And the same.
So what's the purpose? I mean, I can't figure it out.
Now, a lot of golfers have problems with their joints. We know
Joints.
all kinds of the joints. I mean, you're an expert. What would you do? I mean, someone says, "Hey, doc, I have problems with my joints." You know, tell me how you diagnose that person.
Well, you got to find out what joint.
Okay, well, we're going to leave that question for a second and give us a chance to go for a break and let the doc have a little more coffee. This has been a week for him. Doc, we'll be right back. Stay tuned.
Have you ever had a business idea that you thought would be a great solution? Right direction. You're listening to Dr. Pinozo's Sports and Medicine Hour with Dr. Anthony Pinozo. If you have constant pain and want to talk about how to get rid of it without surgery or medication, or simply want a second opinion, call Dr. Pinozo now at 1-877-927-6969 to get your pain issues resolved. And now, more of Dr. Pinozo's Sports and Medicine Hour.
And hi, Karen. Thank you for calling.
Oh, yes, I have a question for Dr. Pinoza.
Karen has a question, Doctor. You hear Karen?
Yes, I hear it.
Okay, go ahead, Karen.
I have a 17-year-old daughter with scoliosis. Does he treat at that age?
Any age is treatable, yes.
Okay. Her pediatrician told me that just wait there weight bearing alone would straighten that out. But from what you're saying, it doesn't sound like that. Like
No.
running or bearing weight would change it.
No, it does not. No, you have to do the right thing, and what they're going to probably refer you for is physical therapy or chiropractic treatment, and that's not going to work.
Okay.
So yeah, we have the answer to it, and I tell you right now, we could reduce that 100% right in front of your eyes, especially with this age group. The younger you are, the faster it goes. Well, we're even treating 80-year-olds with this.
And the curvature that's already happened can be reversed?
Yeah, it's all reversible because it's just scar tissue holding the bones in an abnormal position. That's all.
Oh,
So once you
unbelievable.
relieve that, they go back to normal position. The body is designed, the spine especially, is designed to be upright. So if you just relieve the stress on it, it will go to upright, straight.
Oh, doctor, thank you. That's really good news.
Yep, it is.
You know, Karen, I want to give you Dr. Pinozo's office number if you're interested, and believe me, it'll be probably the best call you've made.
Okay.
It's 561
Mm-hmm.
381
381.
5800. I hope he was able to answer your questions.
Yes, it's very good news. It's different than what I've been told by the pediatrician. It's
Yeah,
very
they do not have the answer to that. Pediatricians are like internists. They don't treat the musculoskeletal system.
Oh,
So now they're going to refer you to those who supposedly do, which is physical therapy or chiropractic or what else is acupuncture. None of those,
Orthopedic surgeons.
yeah,
and
none of
guys.
those work, and or the surgery.
Right.
So you don't want these rods. I mean, that's more damaging than you know. We treat people that are in their middle ages and up that have a lot of pain because of these rods. You can't do much with it. Go ahead.
it doesn't look pretty. It affects the children's self-esteem or an adult's self-esteem when they're walking like crickets, you know?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. We have to clone you, doctor, and get this word out.
Well, you call the doctor and you come down to visit with him. You're going to be very surprised. He's not like most of the doctors that a lot of us have gone to see. He's a doctor that really specializes in one thing and has cured over 72,000 people. No drugs, no rehab,
Right.
just feeling better.
That sounds like the perfect solution.
And we have more endorsements that it would take me a whole week just to go through half the people that have
Yeah, try to
discouraged.
make an appointment for her. I mean, just to see what we can offer her. You have to do it that way because it's an individualized program.
Does
But
it
it's-
take a long time to get
No.
in your office?
No, not at all.
No. Okay.
And Doc, I tell Karen, you take most insurance, correct?
Yeah, we take most insurance.
Okay.
Okay.
So
Thank you.
I'm glad we had the opportunity. I told you, Karen, I hope everything goes well, and I think it would be a great thing to come by and see the doctor. I think it would be something that I hope would be very, very good for you.
Yeah, thank you for the call, Karen.
Thank you, Karen.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you.
Well, there we have something. So if anyone else wants to call the doctor, you can call him on our hotline, 877-927-6969. So, Doc, now that we had a lot of questions, we had some people that have called us from around the country. You want to take the Florida calls first? So we
Okay.
get the Linda from Florida. Doctor, I have arthritis and have been listening now for 3 weeks to your show. Will your procedure work for me, and will it work all the time or only some of the time?
With the term arthritis is too generic. We don't know where this pain is.
Okay.
Remember, arthritis means pain. So we'd have to know where it is, and if it's in a joint, they're all treatable. One thing you should know that even if you have pain, it's not inside the joint; it's around the outside. That's the way it's designed. So, and that's right out of the anatomy book. Go read it up yourself. Anybody out there. We have to know that. I have to know that because we have to know where we're going to treat these things. You can't get a result by injecting inside the joint or
Right.
treating inside the joint. That is not where the problem is. It's on the outside.
So you know what? That always makes me really when I listen to you. I mean, I feel so much better when I listen to you because every time I see you or talk to you, I always find something it's so interesting. Why don't doctors study the physiology of the body?
Well, because it's not taught in medical school.
Okay.
So once you come out of medical school, you're going to be whatever you're going to be, a pediatrician, internist,
Right.
Whatever it is. The only ones who are involved with it and is the people I mentioned before, the surgery, orthopedic surgery. If you don't know, if it's not well taught in school, then you're just more or less referring everything to the orthopedic surgery.
Right.
And there's a whole section of people or medicine that orthopedic surgery, physical therapy, acupuncture, chiropractic, and massage. There's all these things under that category, and none of them have a science, so that the improvement is not there. But the original referring doctor has nothing to do with it.
Amazing, amazing.
So that's what you have to understand. That the people who are actually treating after you refer may not be trained that well. You never know.
So what I always say to people, let your second opinion be your first.
Yeah, that's a good.
Call Dr. Anthony Pinozzo at 561-381-5800. Or if you'd like to talk to Dr. Pinozzo on the phone today, call 877-927-6969. Let me get someone else who lives in Florida. This is Mark, who lives in Miami. Doc, I was in a car accident and was given an electronic impulse machine to reduce inflammation. What the heck is that? I never heard of that.
It is a nothing. You
Really?
cannot reduce inflammation by an electronic machine.
And he said actually it was supposed to work, but the inflammation continues to come back,
Well,
just
of
like the
course.
doctor said.
Yeah, of course.
What? So I guess Mark wants to know from you, but the inflammation continues to come back, and after time, can you explain how your procedure works different?
Well, we don't have a source.
Right.
So he's not saying where it is.
Right.
But they're all the same. They're all ligaments, and they're all treatable.
Let's see who. I'm trying to take all the local people first so they could call up. Paul from Boca, ready for this one? We know the answer, but we're going to do it anyhow. Of course, he took the time to write the. Do you work on tennis elbow, and what is it?
Oh, yeah. Tennis elbow is very interesting. In that little package is several structures, and you have to treat each one individually.
Okay.
We use a fluoroscope for it. So there's a internal problem of the joint, and there's a muscular problem of the joint. So they're not treated the same. So you have to diagnose it and then treat it directly by structure, not the whole thing. You can't treat the whole thing. You have to narrow it down to joint, ligament, and muscle.
Well, remember, we had someone come into your office, a friend of mine, who was complaining about that, and he's going to be on the show one day to explain to people what happened. Yeah. He went to that word. I hate to use that word, folks, but I'm going to use it. It is called chiropractor. And he had gone to many of them, and it just for some reason did not work. But we know the reason why it didn't work. So we don't want to knock the chiropractors. Everyone's out there to make a living. So I'm going to drop it there. Here's a great question from Mike out of Boca. My golf pro tells me that I have to change my game to incorporate my age and change in my swing. I told him about you, and he said my age is something no one can help me with.
That is absolutely not true.
Okay.
Who's ever telling him that has no knowledge, and he should not be given advice like that. I mean, this is a medical problem, so he's saying he's a doctor and he knows that aging is not reversible. That is not true. Absolutely not true.
So in other words, what we're saying out there, people, and I can say this because I'm not a doctor, as you get older, you do have pain. But if you're a golfer, you're always going to be in pain unless they could help you.
Well, but each pain has a source that's
Exactly.
treatable. It's
Exactly.
not by age.
Right.
Every age group has the same structure. I mean, we all have the same number of bones, the same
Right.
number of joints, the same number of everything. So why does an older person have more pain than a younger person? Injuries.
So I guess the golf
Just
pro is.
injuries, that's all.
I guess the golf pro is trying to tell him, say, well, buy these clubs from my friend who owns,
that's right.
and that'll help you swing. Of course, you know what? Which is very funny. You said
Well,
that.
this is why I went into the. After I retired, I did a lot of studies on the golf swing. I'm an expert in the golf swing
Amazing.
from
Amazing.
the medical point of view, and I could even teach you how to hit the ball. I wouldn't do that because that's the PGA Pro. That's his bailiwick, and he does it better than I could do it. But this very reason, age is everything. That's why I did this.
So,
And also the copper bracelets and all the other stuff.
So Mike from Boca, you're not that far away from Dr. Pinozzo's office.
Yeah.
If you're having this kind of problem and you really enjoy this game of golf, which is a crazy game to begin with, I would call him because I'll tell you, Have nothing to lose. 561-381-5800. And if you happen to be listening to the radio right now and you want to talk to the doctor about problems that you might have, you can call him on our hotline, 877-927-6969. I have another one here from West Palm Beach, Doc. You feel like taking another call?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Fred at West Palm Beach says, my hands are the problem. I wake up stiff. I can't close them. I have to warm up my hands in hot water to warm water in order to function. How can you treat my hands?
Well, again, we would break it up into parts. It could be fingers or wrists or elbow.
Right.
So we find out you have to have a diagnosis before you can get treatment.
Right.
If your treatments aren't working, your diagnosis is wrong. So diagnosis is the main thing that you need. The treatment is always comes second, and it always works if you know what you're treating. So this is what we would do with that. And we see it all the time. There's a way to examine for that.
So in other words, I want people to understand outside. You could ask me all these questions, and if you happen to be in the area of South Florida or Boca, West Palm, anywhere in Florida, come see Dr. Pinozo.
No, we don't have. There's not a waiting list because we don't treat people forever.
Right.
So it's 1-2 days, and that's it.
So in other words, let me see if I understand what you're saying. So somebody comes in, and in most cases, you could treat that person that day, or maybe 2 days.
We do, and I'm having trouble with insurance companies because they want to approve what I'm going to do.
You could save the money, though.
And I'm saying, listen, there is no expert on your staff that knows what I know. Why do you have to approve what I have to do? I have to take care of these people.
But the insurance companies are being foolish because instead of them going to doctors and doctors and doctors getting medication, which the insurance company have to be paying.
This is exactly right. And
ridiculous.
I'm having a discussion with one now. I said, why do you want to restrict what I do for you? I'm saving you money.
But I remember one time they gave you your money back because they found out, oh my gosh, it's cheaper to go to this guy.
Oh, yeah, that was Medicare, yeah.
So understand one thing, folks. Dr. Pinozo takes insurance, and we know how the insurance business is today. If they're recommending him, that means this man knows what he's doing. I want to take another call before we go on break. I see my producer is making all kinds of sound. He wants to hit me in a second. We're going to do this one. Oliver in Delray says, what's the difference by taking ibuprofen, your medication, and your medication? Well, number one, the doctor doesn't recommend medication. Number one, let me get that out of the way. I don't know anything about ibuprofen or any of these things that Oliver is taking.
It's supposed to be an anti-inflammatory.
Right.
Aspirin's your best anti-inflammatory.
Right.
Ibuprofen was put on the market to compete with aspirin.
Oh, okay.
A separate company.
Okay.
They saw the aspirin business was really good, so they produced something else. It's not as good as aspirin.
Okay, we're going to take another break, and then we're going to come back and get some more good information from Dr. Pinozo.
Please welcome a new sponsor to the show. It's AMP2 TV, the first and only internet network that's truly plugged in. When you're looking for a full-service internet television production company, discover AMP2 TV, a full-service production company that can provide all streaming videos in studio or remotely. They offer web page development, and they use all the latest platforms to help make your business selling points more powerful. They can do remotes and live streaming, as well as tape productions. Let AMP2 TV handle all of your television production needs. Choose from a variety of creative TV and radio packages, and see why AMP2 TV works with many major companies, including Comcast, Bravo, and Fox 29, as well as individuals and businesses of all types and sizes. To see samples of their work or to find out more, visit their website at amp2.tv. That's AMP, the number 2.tv. Or call them at 1-866-224-5422. That's 866-224-5422.
Pain is the body's way of telling you something is wrong. Surgery can do more harm than good. Pills can become addictive. Dr. Pinozo uses engineered concepts and weight-bearing physics to resolve this pain and get you greater range of motion. Call today to resolve all those old excuses the medical profession has given you up to now. Call 1-877-927-6969. And now, let's get back to today's show.
Welcome back to Dr. Anthony Pinozo. I was ready to ask another question. So now, Doc, we're gonna go. Oh, here's another one from Boca. Paul wants to know. Never mind, we did Paul. Now we're going to go to Linda, who is in South Beach. What the heck is Linda calling? Wow, I didn't know the signal went that far, Linda, so here we go. I have arthritis. I've been listening, and I want to know, what do you do, or what can you do for someone that suffers from arthritis? I think we answered that in the previous call, didn't we, Doc?
Well, the question is, where is the arthritis? Where
Okay.
is the pain? And all pain is treatable. You just have to know how to do it.
So, I mean, to me, folks, I mean, I know the people that are listening out there have to understand one thing. I would rather, and I think everybody else who's listening to the show would much rather not be on medication, because, Doc, a lot of doctors give medication, and doesn't that affect some of the things that they're doing now? The medications they're on now might not coexist with the medication that they're taking?
Well, that's always a problem, and I don't really deal with that.
Right.
I mean, all my patients give me a whole list of medications. I said, well, that's all nice. I'm not dealing with any of those. Whatever I do will not affect these things. And go back to your family doctor, whoever's prescribing all this, to make sure you're doing the right thing. So we don't get involved with medication at all. We don't need to.
So in other words, what you give doesn't interact with anything anyone's
No.
taking. Wow.
That's right, and it's short acting. Short acting. It only lasts 9 hours.
Wow. So in other words, if athletes could take it, like an NFL player could take it,
Well,
an NBA guy could take it.
Yeah. Let me educate you a little bit.
Good.
The whole class of drugs is called steroids. Now, there's an anti-inflammatory steroid, which is what I use.
Okay.
And then there's the muscle-building steroid, which is what the NFL does not want you to do.
Okay.
And I guess they feel that it's an advantage to an abnormal advantage to the player taking that. So there's the muscle-building ones and the anti-inflammatory ones. The anti-inflammatory one that I use is not detectable, and no one's looking for it. It's just anti-inflammatory, and it's gone right away. The other ones last months and months and months. So that is a problem with that. We don't deal with that at all.
Now here's one that I think is good. Greg from California says, ready for this one, Doc? I've been told the digestive system creates inflammation in the body. Is that true?
Digestive system? No.
Okay. So, Greg, there's your answer. Really simple, right? No. Okay. So let's move on. Harry from New York City says, my golf game became too painful for me to play, and I've given up trying to relieve it. Now my son turned me on to your show, and I want to ask, if my pain in my lower back is in multiple places, how long will I need to be treated, and can I get back to playing golf the way I used to?
The answer is yes.
Okay. So now he's
Now, if you have 3 places in your back, the rule of thumb is that it's going to take us 3 days.
wow.
So we'll take the worst pain you have. In other words, if you have a pain and you say, well, this is my worst pain. Out of all these pains I have, this is the worst one. That one we'll take out the same day.
Wow.
And you're not allowed to leave the office with the same pain you walked in with.
I want people to say it again, Doc.
You can't leave the office, my office, with the same pain you walked in with.
Right.
So if we don't have a restriction on the insurance, people want to approve what I do. We don't even deal with that insurance company anymore.
Wow.
Because it's not fair to the patient. I mean, who is approving this stuff? Don't do that kind of thing. Watch what you're buying, is what I tell the public all the time.
Buyer beware.
Yeah. So where were we on that?
No, he wants. Well, basically, what he's
Okay, 1 to 3 days.
He has
so we'll take one pain out every day,
right.
and then you can play golf the first day. But what I usually tell people is, we're going to take this main pain out today. Go to the driving range, and do a good swing, and then bring that pain in if you have it, and then we'll take that pain out also. We have to produce a pain before you could treat it out. I mean, you really have to produce it so you know where it is.
And most people don't know that.
Yeah, and if we don't have a pain, then I'm not treating. I will tell you right then and there. Produce that pain, go out in the hallway, do whatever you need to do, bring it back. If you have a pain, we'll treat it. Otherwise, we're not treating it.
So I just want everyone out there who has gone to doctors, which we've all have, what I want to ask everyone out there who's listening, what doctor ever said to you, hey, if you walk out with the same injury,
Same pain.
Same pain. Guess what? Come back next week. We'll see what it is. I've sat there and watched firsthand because, like everybody else, you get skeptical. I've watched people that couldn't walk is dancing. My producer sitting right here is one of those guys. And one day I'm going to have him on to tell about what he's experienced. I guess my last question right now, Paul from Nevada, my God, I guess he can't set the crap tables too long. Doc, he's getting pain, right? We can fix that, can't we?
Yeah, we could.
Paul from Nevada, can you explain the difference between arthritis and rheumatic disease? I think it will help clear up your approach, what you do. I'm sorry. Will help clear up how you approach what you do clearly. I guess he's trying to say what's the difference between those two diseases.
Well, they're just terminology.
Okay.
Arthritis doesn't mean anything. Rheumatic disease doesn't mean anything either. You have to have signs and symptoms of the ultimate would be rheumatoid arthritis.
Right.
But that's a specific diagnosis with specific findings.
Okay.
Not everybody has that, and very few people have it, as far as I'm concerned. But and arthritis is just a pain, so you have to know where it is, why it is, what produces it.
Okay. So one of the things that really fascinates me is that people talk about the deterioration of a vertebrae.
Uh-huh.
You could actually stop the deterioration, or you could fix that deterioration.
Well, the deterioration again has no meaning. It's a misnomer.
Okay.
It's a repair process.
Okay.
So if you have injury to the vertebrae, that means the structure, the ligament structure, it's going to repair itself by laying down bone. And so people are interpreting that as something bad. It's not. It's actually good.
Wow. And now another one. See, I always look at all the things that I know you could do, and I want people to understand. Lumbar pain. Can you cure that? What's your success rate with lumbar pain? And tell me, what is lumbar pain? Because I don't really know.
Well, that's lower back.
Okay.
It's virtually a 99.9% cure rate.
Wow. And people are suffering from lower back injuries probably more now than they ever have.
Yeah, all the time. We just had somebody fly in from Dallas.
Wow.
With pain in the feet, the lower back, the neck, everything. It took me 2 days. I took it all out. All that pain was gone.
Well, there's a story I want to relate to everybody, and I want you to explain it because every time we have new listeners tune in, and a lot of the people that have been listening for quite a while, so we've been doing this for about 8 weeks now. One of the things that really blew me away, we had a very well-known person. I can't mention her name on the radio, but you'll know her one day when we have her on the air to talk about it. Was having severe ankle pains. And she was going to a primary doctor, I think, the day after she saw you to find out how she could cure that pain. You saw her, and tell me what happened. I was there, but I want it from your own way. I mean, you say it better than I could ever say it. Came in with ankle pain.
Well, the mind of a physician, right, is what you're after.
Yeah, the mind of a physician. That's correct.
Okay. Well, the question was ankle pain, and she was going to be referred to a podiatrist. And what they usually do is put a boot on, which I don't like because you're restricting motion, and my whole deal is improving motion, pain-free. So anyway, I watched her walk in, and I said, "There's no ankle pain here." In fact, I told her. I was right behind her walking into the room, and I said, "You don't have ankle pain."
Which is very funny because I was there.
Yeah, you were there. And so I examined her, and the pain pattern suggested where it was from. But it wasn't obvious. You'd have to know this. I mean, it's one of those things that experienced physicians know. I mean, it's just inherent. And anyway, so we gave it a couple of shots, and that pain left before she left the office.
And never in the ankle, correct?
And not the ankle at all, and that pain never came back.
Right. Because I speak to her on a weekly basis, and she says, "Les, unbelievable, unbelievable."
Yeah. Now we're using the special techniques that we just developed. We do a lot of research.
I know
you see
that.
a lot of people. We do our own X-rays and we do our own studies, and we don't refer anything out. So this works now. This works, and this is why this works. It's research. So the latest one is we know where that pain occurs in the lower back. Absolutely, 100%.
Wow.
So we can actually treat for that, and it works. Do it every day, and so this is the best you can get, folks, even if I say so myself.
So we might have to give you another moniker and call you this pain specialist. Okay, come in with pain, walk out dancing.
That's right.
Now, one of the other things is, what is flat? People are always asking that. What is flat feet? Is that really? Do people actually have flat feet?
Yes, it is a entity, and when I research it, no one treats it.
Is it because they can't treat
They
it?
can't. They don't know where it's from. So I did the research again.
Okay.
And we know where flat feet is from, and it is all treatable. Now, when you have a large toe, what do they call that?
Oh, I don't know.
No, they call them.
Big toe?
They want to operate the big toe because it sticks out. Bunion.
Bunion. I say we have two medical people with us today.
Yeah,
Thank you.
thank
Oh, that's
you.
good. Okay, we have someone here that has bunions. Okay, Doc, now explain.
There is no such thing as a bunion.
Really?
What it is a normal bone that sticks out sideways.
Really?
So it's out here rather than in here. That's treatable because all you have to do is lift up the arch, and that bone goes right to normal.
Wow.
Absolutely. This is. I mean, all the podiatrists are doing is cutting off a normal bone to fit, and then you're walking around with pads, flat feet like this.
It's amazing.
It's all reversible. You have to know where it's from and how to do it. And I did the research on that.
I think we're going to take our last break for the show, Mr. Producer. And maybe I could get you on for a couple of minutes one day and talk about what you went through with Dr. Pinozzo. Are you in the mood to do it today, or you're not? No, he's not in the mood to do it today. Because without him, we don't have a show. We will be back. Thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in. And we'll be back to close out our show with Dr. Pinozzo.
Have you ever had a business idea that you thought would be a great solution to tough challenges in today's world but have no idea of how to get started? You don't want to waste investment money on ideas that just don't work. Introducing Health and Wealth Seminars, a sophisticated advertising agency with over 40 years in the ad business. What makes Health and Wealth different from other agencies is that they fit your product into the public's need. They help put together the strategy of your business before you commit thousands of dollars just to find out that those ideas don't work. Health and Wealth Seminars carries advertising contracts, radio and television contracts, and even a production service contract that will cover all of your business needs. Call today, 954-303-9563, and let Health and Wealth Seminars carry your business to the next level. The number is 954-303-9563. And remember that what happens when you don't advertise is nothing. 954-303-9563 is the number you need to get your business started in the right direction. Dr. Pinozzo is a world leader in helping those who have tried everything to get rid of pain in the body. When surgery or pain medicines aren't working, Dr. Pinozzo is here to help. Range of motion increased over 65,000 patients that Dr. Pinozzo has helped. And now he's here to help you. Call the show now, 1-877-927-6969, and let him help you get on the road to pain-free health.
I've had my producer who is willing to come on and talk about his problem. Freddie.
Yes, sir.
I want you to tell me what happened when I brought you in, and I was pulling and dragging you trying to tell you about this guy, and I brought you in. What happened?
Well, Dr. Pinozzo took an X-ray, and he noticed that my hips were one higher than the other.
Okay.
He took care of that problem, and I suffer from flat feet. And I was a catcher in baseball for 19 years, so I guess that punished me with flat feet. And he went in there and he took care of some pain I had in my ankles and my lower feet, extremities, and I'm diabetic. I thought I was. And then you took me to lunch, and I stopped traffic in the parking lot.
I know.
And I said, for the first time in 6 years, I could feel my feet.
I had to convince him to come see Dr. Mendoza. I said, "You come, I'll buy you lunch." And it was like a breath of fresh air. It was amazing. I mean, and now you can play golf now, which you were never able to play. I mean, if you live in a country club, you should be able to play golf, right?
Well, it's not only that. I'm able to work. I'm able to do things that I was handicapped in doing in the past. The bottom line here is that a lot of people are shocked that you can do what you do. And I think that the tribute to all of this is that it's too good to sound. It sounds too good to be true.
Right.
And you changed my life because I'm able now to work. I'm able to play, and I know that a lot of people out there probably are skeptical and saying, "Doc, this guy's wacko."
How tall did you get?
And I grew another inch. I'm a lot taller and I bent over as more.
Really?
And the funny thing is, I can tell my posture is better, my attitude is better, my golf game got better, and I wasn't able to do some of the things that I do now.
Yeah, so he's describing the part, well, a couple of parts. Like
Yeah, a
the
couple of parts.
golf swing. They have to be evaluated properly. I mean, I hate to see people waste their money. I hate to see the industry do that. They can do a lot better if they just get the concept. Medical problem first.
It's amazing. This is, folks, this is not voodoo. This is real medicine
No,
with
this
a
is
real
real
doctor.
science.
I mean, this is science. Here's someone that took the scientific
So
approach.
when you talk about science, it's predictable and reproducible.
Okay, explain what that means.
That's science.
Okay.
In other words, you can predict what you're going to do, and you can do it often. That's a science. That means you
So
understand.
we had a call coming in. Okay, I'm sorry. I see. So I apologize, Doc. Please.
Go ahead.
Yes, we do. Bob. We had Bob. Let's see what Bob wants to talk about. Hold on. We're going to see Bob right now. Hi, Bob. How you doing?
I'm doing well, thank you. I'm not doing as well as I'd like to, though. That's why I'd like to ask the doctor a quick question, if I may.
Okay, he's right here. Doc, this is Bob. Go ahead, Bob.
Go ahead.
Thank you for taking my call, sir. How about spinal stenosis with two spinal fusions on top of that and still incredible low back pain?
Well, spinal stenosis is a term that the radiologists use, which is acceptable to everyone, including especially insurance companies. It only means that one bone is stuck to the other. That's all. It's all treatable. Now, when you have a fusion, the inflammatory changes are taking place between the fusions. So we have to go in there with a anti-inflammatory and inject it out, and it comes out or is controllable. And also, when you have a fusion, the motion takes place above the fusion. So that's a source of possible injury. So you have to know all of these things I just mentioned, but it's all treatable. We do it every day. There's a lot of fusions being done, which I don't agree with any of it, but we try to help people as they present themselves.
Well, it's just marvelous to hear that, and I will be making an appointment. I appreciate it very much, and because you get to this point in your life, I've been to pain management clinics and everything else, and lots of different pills which I hate to take, and even had one of those implants in my back with the pain management, and it caught on fire. So, that wasn't very healthy either. So,
No, it really doesn't help anybody to have one of those in. We don't like that.
no. I know you're busy. I'll let you go, but I have your number, and it's 561-381-5800, and I'll be calling Monday morning.
All right,
That'll be
thanks.
the best call you've made, Bob. Thank you so much for tuning in. And now I want to go back to Freddie, who was discussing what he was doing.
The funny thing, and Bob, I never met Dr. Pinozo before on that day. So it wasn't like he had my medical background or anything else. He didn't know me from a hole in the wall. I have a radio show on another station. I've seen hundreds of doctors. I've been on every pill. I mean, you name it, and I've done it. And again, not to blow smoke up his skirt, the man actually changed my life. If you give him a try and you come out feeling the way you went in, he won't let you leave. I guarantee you, he makes a difference.
Wow.
Guarantee.
Thank you.
That's beautiful. But I don't know what else to say, folks. I mean, here's a doctor that really and truly wants to help people because he believes so strongly in what he's doing. So, you know what? Give Dr. Pinozo a call at 561-381-5800. Now, Doc, is there anything you want to tell anybody other than what we've discussed? We'll be going off the air in about a minute.
We're primarily doing an educational program here. Of course, practicing medicine. I mean, that's what I do. I do that for a living. I do it for fun. I do it for. It's all encompassing when it runs your life. And
Right.
How you treat people. So anyway, but it's primarily educational. Maybe you get another idea of what you're hearing. Maybe you don't want to believe half of what you're hearing because it's not true.
Well,
and I'm just kind of trying to stimulate that a little bit.
Well, no, I agree with what you said, but what people have to understand is, I mean, I know, and I think Freddie knows, we would much rather go to someone and we get an opinion of what I have before I go in for surgery.
Exactly.
Well, we consider this practically a new branch of medicine. I mean, what we do is
You're the only one that
really-
does it.
Well, my son does it too.
Well,
We-
two people.
Yeah, we collaborate a lot. He's in Phoenix, by the way. So anybody out there can go there.
You want to give your son's number, because this goes on the World Wide Web, Doc. So maybe there's someone in Phoenix that wants to tune in. What's Paul's number?
623-776-8686.
Okay, and you're the only two people that are probably in the world that does what you do.
That's correct.
Wow, it's amazing.
Now, we were willing to train, but you have to get the concepts first. The concepts that we use are not mainstream.
Right.
For instance, what is a pain? A pain is an electrical phenomenon. That's what it is, an electrical phenomenon. And it's caused by something. So you have to know what causes it. So you can't say a nerve causes the pain.
Right.
That's not true. It goes to the brain from whatever causes the pain. So it could be joint, but you have to know these pain patterns, and we spend a lot of time working them out.
Well, folks, again, a great show, Dr. Pinozzo. We want to thank you so much. And, folks, you can always call Dr. Pinozzo at 561-381-5800. And thank you for tuning in, and we will see you next week. Thank you, Dr. Pinozzo.
This has been the Dr. Pinozzo Sports and Medicine Hour with Dr. Anthony Pinozzo. If you spend 5 minutes with Dr. Pinozzo, you'll see he genuinely enjoys helping others. Visit Dr. Pinozzo online at www.paincentersnationwide.com or call him at 561-381-5800. Dr. Pinozzo will consult with you to determine the best solution to your pain needs. 561-381-5800 is the number to call.